Is my 2025 Fit Pro workshop. I'm trying to give you the advice on how to lose fat by eating takeout, how to lose fat outside the gym, and what to do in the gym. And then lastly, as we just mentioned, biometric results on kind of showing you what we are doing with every single client we take on to make sure that we're not only meeting you where you're at when it comes to nutrition and workouts, but we're meeting where you're at biologically. So worst thing we can do is get into an intense fitness regime and get hurt because our body is giving us red flags going into this. And ultimately, just like with every client I talk to, the goal is ultimate fitness independence. As with most things, right? Whether you learn to drive, at some point, you don't need your parents sitting next to you to drive, right? You just need to get the learner's permit, go drive, become 16 or 17 and just drive on your own. You don't always need to have an instructor next to you, right? So that is kind of our approach here. Like I've had plenty of instructors as a pilot. At some point, they expect you to go out and just do it without them, to go solo. And so unlike other coaches, my goal is so you can take your health solo, that you are not stuck with me forever or stuck with any coach forever, because I fundamentally don't believe you need that. Most people who come see us and they want to lose fat and lose weight and build muscle, and when they learn those three things, know how to consistently do it and keep their results, there's no need for us anymore. And that's what separates us from other programs. And so we're going to get into that. So, yeah, how do we lose fat with takeout, use hotel gyms, and have a real job and succeed with our health? So, um, John, since you're here, what's the biggest reason you're struggling with fat loss or muscle growth right now out of these like five things? Wait, I have you muted, by the way. There you go.
Yeah. I mean, I can, uh, yeah, probably finances. Sometimes motivation. Form is something I've kind of wondered if I'm doing a correct exercise. They talk about a lot of people talk about
Pelvic
pelvic
tilt?
tilt, yeah, that kind of stuff, and then you can kind of like get into the minutia of things like is your back straight or do you have to have a little bit of a bend? um Food plan, maybe a little bit. I know I try to eat healthy for the most part. I just had pizza the other night, but
So did I.
oh, you did?
Yeah, and we'll get into that. But yeah, you don't have to, I just in general, the goal is to get you thinking. I want to break down some of these narratives. So
Yeah.
if time is something that you or anyone watching this in the future thinks is your biggest struggle, I would first say, do you have time to eat?
Yeah, sometimes I
Good, right?
forget to eat, but yeah.
Yeah, and and John, feel free. I'm just gonna talk. You don't have to answer everything. Just rhetorically, just these are some myths, I guess, is what I'm gonna myth bust right now. Time, if you have time to eat, you have 90% of your answer locked in what you put in your mouth. Whether it's losing fat or building muscle, what you are, what you eat. And simply put, if you're a busy executive or a traveler like myself, the most important thing that you can do is be intentional about how you eat, especially if you're limited on time. So, time generally isn't a reason people struggle with losing fat. It's more of a lack of know-how on what to do with food. Because we have to eat or else we're going to die. And your choices with food and nutrition are paramount. Now, like you just said, you had pizza the other night. I had pizza the other night. This doesn't mean that you have to be this pristine, perfect nutrition balanced meal every single meal. It's a little bit deeper than that. And that's something that we teach is that ultimately food is a tool. There's no such thing as good food or bad food. There's just food. Does the food support your goal or does it not support your goal? Pizza can support your goal. Beer potentially can. Bad foods can have a place in your life. We're not in the business of getting rid of bad foods. We're in the business of putting bad foods in their place to see how we can make that work. That's why, so many people do these like hard 75 challenges and whatnot, is because They think that by restricting and getting rid of, quote, bad things is what they need to do, when in reality, they just need to understand it. Um, and that's a big thing that we teach. So time is really not a reason to struggle with weight loss. It's really a not understanding food. Now, motivation, same thing. So a lot of people will say, yeah, I'm just not motivated. Well, I tend to find that motivation is, once again, due to lack of a plan. Most people get up, go to work, and live their life every day, right? That's because they know what to do. They know they're going to wake up, they know where they work, they know how to do their job. Most people who know how to do something do it every day. When it comes to losing fat or building muscle or this nutrition stuff, it seems so nuanced that their motivation is low because they don't know where to start. And the reason you might be struggling with fat loss or muscle growth isn't necessarily motivation. It's low motivation because of lack of knowledge. Notice how with food, I just mentioned with time, it all comes down to this theme that I'm showing you, which is knowledge is power. If you give people the tools and the knowledge to lose fat and build muscle, every single time they succeed. And that's what really makes us different as a company is we're not here to gate guard knowledge or prevent clients from learning something. Our goal is to actually teach you the ins and outs between everything that we do so that you will never lose motivation when it comes to losing fat and building muscle. Now, John, you said form in the gym, and that's something that I think is funny that people get so worried about because honestly, to build muscle, form is important with complicated lifts. Like if somebody wanted to do a power clean or an Olympic style lifting, form is everything when it comes to executing the movement. But when it comes to actually building muscle and losing fat, or at least getting the most out of your gym experience, form is not the most important thing. Am I saying is it dangerous? Sure, it can be. It just depends on the lift. Now, for somebody who's brand new at the gym, we actually love machines. Like Planet Fitness, for example, is a great beginner gym because it's so machine centric. Because machines are a lot harder to hurt yourself, but it forces your body to be in a correct form just by using the machine. And to be honest, unless you want to compete in like powerlifting or any particular types of weightlifting, form is the least important thing in your journey. It's really, did we try? Did we show up? Did we put on more weight? And are we applying ourselves in the gym consistently? Those are the things that are more important in the gym than form will ever be. Now, at some point, you can still hurt yourself on a machine if you're doing something totally wacky, but form is actually one of the most minor things that we actually are concerned about with a lot of our clients because most of our clients are not Olympic weightlifters and have no desire to be an Olympic weightlifter. So we don't give them Olympic weightlifts. You can build strong legs without a back squat. You can build glutes without a deadlift. So that's what we do because it's safer, more sustainable, and easier to teach so you can actually start seeing gains quicker. That doesn't mean complex lifts are evil or, not important, but there's a time and place for them, and we introduce them as we go. So form is something that we actually, it really isn't a big reason to struggle. It's just how we're thinking about it. Food plan we talked about and gym plan, same thing. It's all about that motivation. So knowledge is power is usually one of the biggest things that we find when clients come to us is they just don't know. So what is our program geared towards? Giving you that information so you can know. I want to show you how to get results with takeout. I want to show you how to find strategies outside the gym to lose fat, like we talked about earlier, John, with walking. I want to use how can you use equipment that maybe sucks at your hotel gym and still get the most out of it? And lastly, go over some biometric results. Like what are some red flags that your body is telling you right now that is holding you back from your goal, even if you do all the right things, eat clean, go to the gym, etc., etc. Your body may not be ready to change. And that's what's so important about that biometric health assessment. So we'll be covering that today. A little bit about me. I'm originally from Los Angeles. I'm been a pretty goal-oriented person since high school. I went to Washington State, studied journalism, history, and military science. Eventually became a military officer in the Army, flew helicopters there. A lot of the structure that you see in my programming. Oh, Henry's here. Nice. Let's say hi to Henry real quick. Henry, welcome if you can hear. This is the workshop. We're just talking about me getting started. Um, back in the Army, right? The Army taught me a lot of structure, and structure is great with teaching people things like really complex stuff, like flying a twin turbine helicopter that can lift thousands and thousands of pounds and hurt me and a lot of other people if you don't know what you're doing. If you've ever watched Forrest Gump, when the drill sergeant asks Forrest Gump, "Why'd you put together that weapon so quickly?" Well, and Forrest Gump says, "Because I told you, because you told me to." It was the biggest lesson for me in the Army is was as long as you have structure, you can teach really slow people like Forrest Gump to do really amazing things. And it taught me that discipline and structure is far more important than just raw intelligence. And so I've taken that experience with flying and the regimented structure of training complicated stuff and put it into health and fitness because I realized with aviation, like so many other people who sit for a living, it's a significant threat to your health that we don't talk about and people struggle with daily. And through my own journey working with an online fitness coach and changing my life around, I realized that I need to do the same thing for other people in my industry and beyond. Because if I can do it, anyone else can do it with my crazy schedule. Um, I wanted to show you Alexander. So this is a client testimonial. You may have seen him on my page and whatnot. Alexander was one of the very first clients I worked with. I worked with him for over a year. He came to me because he was a delivery driver. He delivers ice in Metro Chicago. So Andrew is literally trapped in his car 6 to 8 hours a day, driving ice around the city, lifting and moving and driving. And it's, clearly he's not eating the fresh home cooked meals every single day. He has to eat on the go. And he was really struggling with his weight over here. He had a lot of residual body fat. He's 27 years old and he had approximately 25 to 30% body fat. Wasn't doing so hot. So he came to me for help. After a year of working with Alex, he learned how to master food while driving 6 to 8 hours a day. He learned how to do workouts at home when he couldn't go to the gym because of his crazy life. And he learned the understandings behind why we do everything so he kept up with it. The key difference between someone like Andrew is that he took a vested interest in learning the principles of fat loss, the principles of muscle growth, the principles of movement outside the gym so that he's never going to gain weight again. So Alexander lost over 40 pounds in 6 months with me and started to actually gain muscle mass before he left in 12 months of time. So together with Alexander, we lost the fat and we built him back up with more muscle, and he's kept it off ever since. So many other trainers and programs would have stopped after the weight loss, but us, we understand that we want this to be long lasting. So by going into a build phase, we were increasing his metabolic rate by putting on more muscle, but we were setting him up for success to keep the fat from coming back. Because it's a very important mistake people do with weight loss is that they lose all the weight, they think they're good, and then a couple months goes by and they gain it all back. There was a documentary that just came out, The Biggest Loser on Netflix, that documented hundreds of contestants on that show who lost crazy amount of weight to just gain most of it back because they weren't actually taught how to keep it off and they weren't taught about the vulnerable position they're in after losing all that weight. And the crazy stuff they did to lose the weight was totally wrecking their body and setting it up for disaster 5 years later. We don't do that here. We are not the biggest loser. We're trying to get better. It's not just about weight. So the biggest pillar that we all start with every client is nutrition. because what you put in your mouth is going to have a bigger say than any exercise you do or any habits you have. And no, it's not carbs that make you fat. Almost every client, unless there's a specific reason not to, will eat 50 to 60% of their calories carbohydrates. So many other coaches immediately do low carb stuff or keto type things or demonize carbs because they don't have an understanding of nutrition. Carbohydrates are so important for muscle growth and fat loss. It's your primary source of energy for your body. Restricting carbs just makes things worse long term. So when it comes to like nutrition, as I mentioned to you, John, earlier, and Henry, if you're here, we don't ban food at Jet Set Trainer. We are learning how to use the food that you enjoy and put them in their place in your life so that you can get results. I had pizza yesterday at the fair. I had a couple beers. I'm living my life. Great nutrition programming is not eating chicken, broccoli, and rice every day. It's learning how to eat the food you have available to you and the food you like. I'm an airline pilot. I can't pack chicken, broccoli, and rice every single day. I'm not going to do that. I am not going to, I can't have a crazy bodybuilder restrictive lifestyle. It just doesn't work with my life, nor is it something I want to do because I have a deeper understanding of nutrition, and that's what I want to give my clients. The way I explain this to people is if you remember back in the day, you go travel, right? You have a trifold of English to Spanish, for example, if you're going to Mexico. ¿Dónde está la biblioteca? Where's the library, right? Where's the baño? Where's the bathroom? Like they had key phrases to keep you out of trouble down in Mexico, right? You had 100 phrases. Is that technically Spanish? Absolutely. Could it help you when you're in Mexico for a weekend? Yes. But what if you had to move to Mexico? Would those phrases get a little old and would you feel a little lost in that society? Probably. Your diet is not a vacation. This is what other coaches do. They give you a meal plan. They say eat chicken, broccoli, and rice, and you get one cheat day a week. Have a nice day. Even the best people will only stick to that for so long and eventually go back to their old ways because they don't know why they're following it. It's overly restrictive for no reason, and you lose your sanity. Just like if you tried to say the same 5 phrases in Mexico rather than learn the language and understand Spanish, you're gonna have a much better time. We are trying to teach you to be more fluent with nutrition, just like someone would have a working knowledge of Spanish if they had moved there. Because the body that you want when you come to see us is a body you hope to keep. So if we hope to keep that body, that means we're going to have to be a little bit more fluent with nutrition to maintain that. Hope that makes sense. Any questions, anybody out in the audience? Nope. Okay. Um, so here's some actionable advice on fat loss, specifically with food. Food is very similar to finance. You need to find out what your metabolic budget is, or base metabolic rate would be a more scientific term. Depending on your age, height, gender, and specific biomarkers for your body, everyone has a certain amount of calories they burn every day in on general. It's our goal to not overeat if we're trying to lose fat loss or to lose fat. Being in a caloric deficit or eating less than what's required every day is tried and true the best way to lose weight. But the only way to figure that out is to come up with your base metabolic rate. That's something that we come up with and we customize for you when we get started. Second, eat the foods that make you happy as long as they fit the budget. Once again, it's this money example. Some people say never order Starbucks, it's a waste of money. $5 for coffee is an outrage. But what if Starbucks coffee makes you really happy? What if Starbucks coffee is something that you really look forward to and it brings you a lot of joy? Should you get rid of it because you can get 7-Eleven coffee for $2? Depends, right? Your happiness is important. And if you're eating foods that don't make you happy, I would say don't eat them. So, someone who has enough money to afford Starbucks every day and it makes them really happy, Keep doing it financially, right? The same thing is true with your food when it comes to actually eating. If you want to have Starbucks every day and you continue to lose fat because you budgeted in there correctly, I would say keep doing it. That's what we're teaching. We want you to have the things you want, but we don't want you to eat everything that you want per se. Just because you like Starbucks, you might have to give up something else. It's all about being intentional, having a plan, making it fit your metabolic budget. And that's the third thing, being intentional with food. Are you really hungry or just dehydrated? Or did you not eat enough protein? You'd be shocked that most clients, when they start eating more protein, they actually eat less food at the end of the day. Because protein is the number one way to actually make yourself feel full. What does feeling full mean? I ask people this question, how do you know when you're full? They're like, well, I just know, like my stomach fills up. Did you know your fullness depends on what you ate? You probably haven't thought about it that way, but a belly full of donuts is totally different than a belly full of broccoli. It's true. Belly full of donuts could be easily 5,000 calories, whereas a belly full of broccoli, maybe 300. Totally different levels of full, but very important if you're trying to lose fat. So understanding that fullness isn't necessarily the only way to understand if you're actually over or under eating. That's something we teach, especially by teaching you to eat more protein and having the correct balance of fats and carbs to make sure that you're having a balanced meal, even in the airport, even with DoorDash, even at Chipotle. Number four, never ban foods. I've been really harping on that. We're regulating foods. We're not banning them. And lastly, your body holds on to fat if it's out of bounds metabolically, and we need to heal that. And that goes into more of our biometric testing that we'll talk about later. But I'll give you a hint. Your body's like a fish tank. If the fish tank is a little murky because the filter's dirty and we're not taking care of, changing the water every couple months like you're supposed to in your tropical fish tank, same could be true with your body. You wouldn't just buy nicer fish food for your fish. You should probably clean the tank. The same thing is true when it comes to fat loss and muscle growth. Giving yourself better food and better habits will only take you so far when your whole aquarium's murky. And that's a part of your biologic or biometric health eval, which we'll talk about, but super important when it comes to fat loss. This is a video I wanted to show because food logging is something that we teach. It is essential for you to understand your metabolic budget. Now, if you're watching this, you're like, dear God, Scott, I can't calorie count. That's obsessive. Hold your horses. This is why I put this video up here. Calorie counting gets such a bad rap because it's associated with obsessive compulsive behaviors, which could be said for any level of tracking with anything. Back to money. You could have your dad who is so cheap that he wouldn't spend money on toilet paper and you took toilet paper from the public restroom. That's obsessive when it comes to money tracking. But does that mean tracking money is a bad thing? No. You should not spend more than you make on a month-to-month basis. That's pretty good advice. If you track your money so you don't do that, does that mean you're excessive? No. It means you're smart with your money and you're likely to have more opportunities in life because you don't spend more than you make. The same thing is with food. It's not obsessively tracked to where you're not having ketchup because you want to count the calories in the ketchup. That's really unhealthy. I don't support that. But it's not tracking anything at all and not really knowing where you're at when it comes to your food intake. Because foods these days are very tricky to track just by feeling because they're very hyper palatable. So, what is the middle of this? And I'm going to call it beer math. And I want to show you this is a real example of a client who sent me their Chipotle bowl and said, Scott, how do you log this? I'm going to show you. We're going to watch this video. I took a screenshot from my Fitness Pal on what I did. So I searched Chipotle first because someone's uploaded Chipotle. Great, there it is. And he told me it was honey chicken. I'm gonna take the first one right there. Oh, let me go back. honey chicken, 4 ounces. Am I gonna look at that and say, is that 4 ounces? He told me it was double. Okay, a standard serving's 4 ounces. I just doubled it. No big deal. Double. Logged. Next. What else is in there? Chipotle, brown rice. Because I asked him, is it brown rice? He said, yeah. Great. Just pick the first one. Logged. Moving on. Next thing, sour cream. Always make sure to log the fats because those can be high in calories. I think I picked 2 tablespoons. It looks like 2 tablespoons right there, which is kind of the quarter of the plate. I see some fajita veggies. I know those are soaked in oil, so let's log some of those. 120 calories right there. Now, you see the total right there? That took me like 20 seconds to log 800 calories of Chipotle. Is that within 200 calories of what it actually is? More than likely. That's the level of logging that we teach. Now, as you do more of this, you'll get more accurate. But the goal is to log something and get better at it with time. The goal is not to tear apart your Chipotle meal, interrogate the person who loaded it, and give them the scale to make sure you're exactly 4 ounces. That's not what we're asking people to do. We're asking you to log something. And most of the time, Chipotle is about 800 calories. Whether it's 800 or 860, it's a whole lot more than zero when you log. So when you log takeout, it's so important that you log something, but not over obsess if it's perfect. Because I promise you, that 800 calories is going to stop you from eating the next thing. Whereas if you didn't log it, you might just go eat and have a cookie or something, and you'd be quickly over your calories for those days. So logging food isn't science experiment, it's beer math. Just get something down. That's how we teach it. So now we're shifting in to get creative with workouts. Need a bench for an incline. Before I get into this, any questions with anybody? Want to make sure we're still doing good. Okay. Need a bench for an incline dumbbell exercise, but don't have the bench? Try this instead. Grab yourself a good old-fashioned medicine ball just like this. And it's pretty easy because now you can use the medicine ball to create your own artificial incline. I'm going to do this with incline bicep curls. Check it out. As an airline pilot, I always find myself in this situation, trying to make the best situation out of the hotel gym, which doesn't always have everything. So it's efforts like these that are going to separate you from everyone else who travel. So the point of this video is just content I pulled is that people think, oh, they don't have this equipment, so I can't work out. Actually, we're going to be teaching you multiple types of workouts to do to fit the types of equipment you have access to. When you work out, it is not about necessarily using the same equipment in the same weight. It's about how you feel. Rate of perceived exertion is something that we teach. 70% of your max final rep in something is more important than what the exercise was and at what weight it was. Understanding RPE is what's going to get you results with a crappy hotel gym because it's how you feel. It's not about the equipment. This all or nothing gets you nothing attitude. If you notice with food, I want better, not perfect. I want you to log 80% of what you think is right rather than nothing. Same thing with the workout. I want you to do 80% of the workout if you can, rather than 100% or zero. Perfection is the enemy of good. I can't stress that enough. So many people give up on their fitness journey because they think they can't do the workout because they're not near their gym. Well, you absolutely can. You just have to get creative, and we teach you how. Having a fundamental knowledge of what muscle groups you're teaching and targeting helps, and we teach you that. The app we use actually has some AI that actually flip-flops your workout to fit what's available. Like, for example, if a bench press is taken in the gym, you don't have time to wait, you, you tip new exercise, and it might give you a dumbbell chest press, give you ideas to keep you moving through your workout. Um, Next is attitude. Whenever you have a gym that's like maybe not as good, you're like, ah, shoot, I don't have time for a gym. All I have is 30 minutes in my hotel room. This is a challenge, but it's your opportunity to be creative with your body and fitness. Maybe do some exercises you haven't done in a while and put this knowledge that we teach you to work because remember, doing something is better than nothing. And lastly, holding on to muscle can be just as important, if not more important, than building muscle and fat loss as well. Just because you don't go to the gym doesn't mean it was a wasted day. In fact, it could be a huge win because it's a rest day, but you practice some habits that actually maintain that muscle, like walking or the diet that we've been talking about. Holding on to your gains is arguably more important than building them because that's where people mess this up. Is they don't go to the gym, so they abandon their diet and they eat like crap. They don't go for a walk. They either do all or nothing, and guess what? They do nothing more than they do all of it, so they don't really get very far. That's not what we want. So, getting into habits.
Got a little tired.
Free rides. Free rides.
This is my family.
You got too tired.
Be tired. Too much gains today.
90% of your gains happen outside the gym. Your habits are paramount. Um, if you cannot, the better way to put this is people will spend 3 to 5 hours in the gym every week, and that's someone who's pretty active. There's 168 hours a week. Can you imagine if someone only spends 5 hours a week towards their fitness goals, how far they're going to get? It's going to take forever. That's why you see people at the gym who don't really change, is because they don't have a plan outside the gym. We do. So for example, habits like drinking water can have a huge impact on your muscle growth and fat loss ability. Having a non-exercise activity thermogenesis goal, NEAT, is essential to maintaining not only your fat loss, but maintaining your muscle. Tracking your progress objectively. This includes photos, but also measurements. This also includes tracking general progress in the gym. So many people track nothing. If you're not tracking anything, how do you know if it's working? And how do you know if what you're doing is actually making it worse? Once again, these are all methods to give you your time back when it comes back to the gym. Never ban or restrict yourself from the things that bring you joy. I went to the state fair yesterday and ate a bunch of greasy food. I do it once a year. Got 20,000 steps, which was great, but from a habit standpoint, not great. I had beer, pizza, fried olives, vegan corn dog. Not great food for me, but I'm never going to ban or restrict myself from the things that bring me joy. Because today I'm locked in, I'm ready, and I can keep going for weeks and months. But that one day to go have fun with my wife and family, it's great. Once again, better, not perfect. Not this all or nothing program nonsense. And lastly, when it comes to habits, don't do it alone. It's so much harder to do it alone. You have your coach if you work with me, because we all do this together, but find someone who shares the same lifestyle habits as you. I love going for a walk with my dog. I love it. I used to walk by myself. Now I have my dog. Now I bring my wife with me. Don't do it alone because if you have someone there in with you, you're going to stick to it because what you do outside the gym is hundreds of hours a year that will have a direct impact on what your body looks like, far more than what you do in the gym. We're going to teach you how. Okay, moving right along. Now, understanding the biological silent killers that are working against your gains. And here's exactly what they are. So the biometric health evaluation that you guys took, or anybody who comes onto my program, tests for these things. We're looking at gastrointestinal health, which is like nutrient absorption. We're testing liver and gallbladders, which is for filter and metabolic processes, like AKA, do you use the energy you eat or does it stay gunked up in your system? The endocrine system we test. Are there correct hormonal bodily commands like cortisol? Is that too high? Is your estrogen too low or high, etc.? Glucose regulations. We're checking your body's MPG. Is it high or low? Is it working correctly? Is it working in conjunction with your liver and gallbladder? Are you becoming insulin sensitive or not. It doesn't mean if you're diabetic, it just means how do you process insulin? How do you process glucose? Once again, your number one energy source. It's going to have a huge impact on whether you build muscle or lose fat. Mood. We're testing for your sanity and motivation as well. All of these things are related. Your gut controls your mood. How can someone lose fat and keep it off if they're depressed? It's an extremely hard road to have. But if their gut is all messed up, how can they not be depressed? Sometimes we're solving a gut issue to cure a behavioral issue. All of this matters with every client. Like I said, we meet you where you're at biologically and take this information in addition to your other survey information to give you a plan to get better every day in a safe and effective and predictable way. Lastly, male and female markers is everything working as it should. For men, it's like testosterone, prostate health. For women, it would be cyclic, is there correct estrogen numbers? Are we on our cycle correctly for ovulation? All of that stuff factors in to our overall health and fitness goals. So your results, John, if are you still here? I was going to go over your results for everybody.
Yes, I'm still here.
Cool. So John, who shall not be named, I just named him John. He took his biometric health evaluation, Client X, and we give this exam to everyone who comes in here. Here are some of the markers. So overall, not bad. As we can see, kind of we were looking at depression and anxiety. That's actually a little bit higher than anything else here. Prostate health's a little high as well. Um, but these are all systems that are related. So if this client were to work with me today, what we would actually recommend is we would probably start with actually testing his metabolism first. Because if his metabolic processes are not working correctly, that means glucose is in essentially causing excess inflammation in the body, which can lead to increased thyroid and adrenal responses, which increases cortisol, which can possibly influence your gastrointestinal environment, causing bad bacteria to grow there, which that bad bacteria can in turn cause mood issues. So it's all related. It's like I said before, it's like a fish tank. If we're not processing metabolically what we need to, just like the filter in a fish tank, if it's clogged or it's not filtering out what it needs to, in this case, glucose can poison the rest of the system. It can affect, and which in turn has a stress response, which in turn has another stress response downstream in your gut, which can affect your mood. So with Client X right here, we would do a metabolic test right out of the gate. See what is going on in there and get those results and come up with a protocol with supplementation, nutrition, and activity to see what we can do to fix this. So that would be an example of what we would do to help someone like that. Every client is different. Every client has different markers here, and every client gets to experience this for free with us. When they first sign up, when they first show up on a call with us, we'll know exactly what's going on. Any questions? Okay, cool. Moving on. Because our program is so structured, because we're allowing you to eat food that you actually enjoy, because we're giving you workouts that are sustainable, low impact, and oxygen based, and because we're actually testing your biology to see if you have the capacity to lose fat and build muscle, our clients see immediate changes. And this is an actual 2-week check-in.
Previously, you did a bunch of hits. We did V-Shred.
This client came to me, a little background. Javier, he had done V-Shred, if you're not familiar. It's a very restrictive, high intensity workout, starvation diet like program. Big marketing budget, millions of people do it every year. It appears to be this big, sexy program that gets results, and it does quickly, but it completely wrecks your metabolism and it wrecks your body. And Javier came to me gaining back all the weight that he had lost on it, then some.
Did all that stuff. Do you feel like this has been better so far?
Infinitely.
Okay, good. We started at 228. Now, I know that we're still, like, I can't say you have all these results to say, yes, it was great, Scott. I'm so glad I did this. I know we just started, but do you feel, I guess, not only empowered, but also you have more information now, more knowledge on how food, metabolism, exercise, how all of this is structured with my program and how it's going to work? Like, does that all make sense?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
There's a lot more explanation as to why things happen and how they work versus just go and do this because I said so.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm overall in a much better place doing this than I ever felt with any other program I've tried.
Okay. Awesome. So that's the first 2 weeks of working with me. They got access to education immediately. They got access to not a cookie cutter plan, but a custom plan to their lifestyle, and they started feeling better immediately within 2 weeks. Everything that we do together, we're always evaluating on a 4-week rolling scale. Excuse me. If you're not feeling better in 4 weeks, we're not doing something correctly. This prevents this like lack of progress because you'll see other coaches and other people. They'll be like, yeah, you're not really progressing, but we'll keep trying. And it's like, well, hold on a second. Every 4 weeks, we should be progressing. If we're not, there's a problem. It holds you accountable as the client, but it also holds me accountable as the coach. Every 30 days, we should see measurable change. Now, does that mean you're going to have six-pack abs in 30 days? No, of course not. And that's not what I'm saying. But we're taking data, we're taking photos, we're taking data to show improvement or not improvement, and then also your feedback. You know, Javier told me in 2 weeks, he's like, dude, I feel so much better working with you. And he was already down like 4 pounds because we started working with his body, not against it. Now, what happens if we continue to do every 4 weeks for 6 months? Be this. This is my client who worked, he was in a Cheesecake Factory line cook. Can you imagine how hard that is to eat healthy there? Holy cow. You literally work in the Cheesecake Factory and you're cooking high fat, high savory meals all day. What a tough environment to lose weight. Well, this individual lost 41 pounds in 6 months with us, and we didn't ban food. We allowed him to eat the food he wanted, and he did it with a pretty stressful, demanding job as a line cook. We started at 228. Now we're down 187. That's pretty crazy in 6 months. How do you feel about that?
Really good.
Yeah, I mean, when we first chatted, the goal was to get you to feel more comfortable and confident in your own skin, be a little bit more outgoing. You went and ran at your first 5K, right?
Yeah.
What else? What other things have we been able to do now that you're just leaning out so nicely?
Well, now I can fit into like way smaller clothes, and I can like. There's actually like better stuff I can do. Like I know that was a big thing. I was talking about first. Like, let's see. Last time I went out clothes shopping, I could fit into 34 waist.
Nice.
And then like, but then the funny thing is like I gotta like figure out what to do with my old clothes because every time I go out, it looks like I'm swimming.
That's okay.
Everybody was surprised. Oh, you got skinny. Although a couple of people were worried, like, is this good weight or bad? Is this good skinny or bad skinny? I was like, no, it's good skinny. Don't worry.
That's funny. I want to say thank you for trusting us and helping you get to where you're at right now.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, and I hope you had fun. I hope it wasn't grueling. I hope it wasn't. I hope that we are able to teach you some things that you can take for you for the rest of your life.
I know, of course.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, because I honestly would never have been able to do this without you guys.
That's great. Yeah.
I've never been in over a decade, probably longer. But
Yeah, and you did a lot in 6 months. So honestly, like bravo. Like you're one of the better clients we've had. So but yeah, I'm so happy for this guy. He was like 0 to 60, boom, he figured it out. It just shows that when you understand the material we're giving you and you just apply it, how quickly your body can change. And not everyone will have results like Koopa here. But like he said, his family was like, "Are you sick? Do you have cancer?" Because he comes from a Hawaiian background, and a lot of his Hawaiian Polynesian family are a little overweight, and he's just totally different. And he went the complete opposite way on this. So it's another, pointed fact to show that your genetics are not a death sentence. Just because you come from a family that is a little more overweight, like a Polynesian background, that doesn't mean you can't have drastic results when you start doing the right things with your body. And that's what was so awesome about Koopa here. I'm going to get into how we do that. How do we customize training but also get results? So many other coaches are afraid to do customized training because they're afraid it won't work. Well, as I mentioned before, my army lifestyle taught me that as long as you have structure, you can customize anything and get guaranteed results. And this is my structure here with Jet Set Trainer, is the Jet Smart F formula. Jet meaning me and my coaches and everyone on my staff has a real job. We are not just fitness and nutrition junkies who live at a gym with a mini fridge next to us full of chicken, broccoli, and rice. I have to structure my day to get my workout in and manage my clients and fly airplanes and be a father and be a dog dad and be a husband. I have just as crazy a life as anybody else. I get results and my clients get results because I know what it's like to have a life outside of fitness because I do every single day, I promise. S in the Jet Smart formula. It's specific to you. I am not going to give you a cookie cutter generic exercise program that isn't specifically designed to where you're at and where you want to go. So many other coaches will give people their leg day or their fat loss plan. I'm sure it works great for them, but does that mean it's going to work great for their clients? Maybe, maybe not. We don't do that. From your biometric health evaluation to the questions we ask you on day one, we are going to give you something specifically tailored to you so you can follow it and you get the best results possible. I'm not just giving you, quote unquote, my plan. Okay, M, measurable. So, yeah, how do we make sure that we're actually giving you something that works? Well, we're taking data. We're taking action every day, which will be the next one, but we're taking data on what you do. We're taking data on what you're eating, what activities you do, how the workouts go, so we can use that data to drive decisions in the future to make your program better. Just like any system, we need to have some objective and subjective data to use that together to make a better product. Every single week, we go over that data and apply it to your program to see if there's an opportunity to make it better. For example, I had a client who loves swimming, hates walking. Great. We wanted to see how can we make swimming be a better alternative to walking because they'll actually do it, but get the same results if not better. Well, we used data. How long did he swim and what result did we get? How many inches off his waist did he lose? How much pounds did he lose in comparison to when he walked? Perfect example of that. Action every day. So this is the habits portion. We are a habits first organization. I am not going to send clients to the gym if they have no business being in the gym. Somebody who has no business being in the gym is somebody who has a very severe biometric health evaluation where working out is just causing more stress than he needs. Nutrition is a significant struggle and we cannot specifically eat better, or habits, we can't actually do, movement outside the gym. I sometimes will wait on actually going to the gym for some clients if we can't do those three things. Because action every day is more important than the gym, which is the opposite of what most trainers do. Most trainers say, oh, if you want to lose weight, oh, if you want to build more muscle, I'll see you in the gym. This gym first attitude just gets people hurt, makes people dependent on a coach, and doesn't teach them the power they have to change their body on their own time. That is not what I do. I want you to have the most impact on your health outside the gym before we go to the gym, so that when you do go to the gym, you actually get better results and you keep those results and you don't get hurt and everything just works better. Habits are the foundation of your fitness lifestyle. If you don't work on those, it doesn't matter what we do on top at the gym. Are realistic. So I sometimes get clients who are like, Scott, I'd love to have a trainer. I just don't have time for it. I can't work out in the gym 5 times a week. And I'll say, great. Well, what if we get results if we're not going to the gym? Or, Scott, I can't, just eat clean. I travel all the time. I got to eat airport food. I eat airport food. It has to be realistic, not the best. Anybody who gets paid to work out and bodybuild would have a totally different lifestyle than what you and I have, who don't get paid to work out and bodybuild. Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? I'm sure what he ate and what he did was quote unquote better for building muscle and losing fat than maybe what you might do. But he also has a very different lifestyle. So why would we give you Arnold Schwarzenegger's plan and not come up with a plan that works best for you? Realistic protocols. If it's not realistic, we're not going to do it. There's so many ways to lose fat and build muscle at your speed where you're at to be better every single day. That's where we focus. It's not about doing the best thing that requires all this sacrifice. So you either, once again, in this all or nothing headspace to where you give up and we lose everything. Our goal is to be better, do the least amount of effort for the most return on investment. That's everything we do. Because on your worst day, if you can move forward just an inch, that is how I know you'll never go backwards ever again. Okay. T, timely results. We talked about 4 weeks, how important that is. Very important to the JetSmart formula. If we're not improving, why keep doing the same thing? It's the definition of insanity. We don't do that here. Other coaches would, because they just know their program and they just blame their clients and say, well, if you're not getting results, it must be you the problem. It's not my program. I'm the opposite. I'm always looking for a reason why I can get better to make your results better. Because ultimately, if you're doing my plan and it's not working, that's up to me to problem solve. And last, JetSmart F, Functional Health Solutions for Longevity. This is the biometric health evaluation we talked about earlier. We want to make sure that we're actually meeting you where you're at biologically before we undertake really anything. Unlike other coaches who go out into the blind and might make symptoms worse by going into a caloric deficit or by going to the gym and getting yourself hurt. We don't want to do that. Next thing I want to talk about is the backdraft metabolic process. Our body is like a fireplace. It's burning energy. I'm burning energy right now sitting here, so are you. But if we give it the wrong fuel, the fire's going to struggle. This is all about your metabolism, but we have to give it the right fuel so it burns strong. My backdraft metabolic process is designed so that you're burning fat 24/7. We're going to be adjusting your food, testing your metabolism, and actually doing exercises that are more fat burning than anything else. The biggest mistake people do is they kill themselves in the gym with exercises that don't burn fat, for example, like CrossFit. We are trying to make this as sustainable as possible so that you're burning fat all the time. We want to train your body to burn the fat first, not burn your muscle, not burn glycogen. We're burning fat. This is, believe it or not, this leads to a more sustainable, healthy, happy life. When you lose the fat, you get into a better body composition and everything just starts to work better with the backdraft metabolic process. So we're going to teach you how to get your metabolism geared by nutrition coaching, actual oxygen-based exercises, and by actually testing your metabolism. Every single client gets this for free and included it with us. Next, global nomad nutrition. I hinted at this, but most coaches are giving you strict meal plans. They're telling you to eat chicken, broccoli, and rice and like one cheat day a month. No, we're not doing that. I'm teaching you how to eat DoorDash and lose weight. I'm teaching you how to eat your mom's spaghetti and lose weight. I'm teaching you how to go to a wedding and still lose fat and have a good time. I am not here to make you just eat the same thing for the rest of your life. That might work technically, you can lose fat doing that. I'm here to teach you to eat the food you're already eating. I want you to be fluent with nutrition. We talked about this earlier. I'm not teaching you how to just follow rules. I'm teaching you how to understand food. So when you encounter food in the real world, you're armed with the information to make the best decision. All right, so I'm just going to talk briefly about the program, the nuts and bolts. I normally do a 6-month or 26-week program with people, and it's not cookie cutter because we have the JetSmart F formula. You basically have an app with a custom daily checklist that you and our team designed together. We're never going to be giving you something that you don't agree to. I have a team of registered doctors, nutritionists, functional health experts that help correct and treat your biometric health evaluation so you never get stuck or, more importantly, hurt yourself. I am trained in nutrition from the National Academy of Sports Medicine and a certified personal trainer for the National Academy of Sports Medicine. I can't know everything. That's why I have this team who helps back me up with everything that we give you. It's not just me. You're getting me and a whole lot of education with this program. We have weekly accountability protocols so you stay focused. You have a weekly check-in that happens every single week. You have access to me through Voxer and Zoom, so we talk and make sure that you're getting done what you need to. The beauty about this program is that you get all of the things you need to do to be successful on your own time. This is so you don't have to find that in-person trainer schedule and sync it with yours. This is designed for truly a busy professional, somebody who travels like me, somebody who has a life. You don't have to be on my time to be successful. I am not in the business of teaching codependence. That's for other trainers to do. I am in the business of teaching you how to solve this. I am your guide. I am not your dictator. We are in this together. Collaboration and communication are the keys, not obedience and doing what I say. And lastly, because of that, education happens every week. You are a part of a rolling education newsletter that comes out every single week to teach you everything I know when it comes to fat loss and muscle growth. I want you to leave my program armed with the knowledge so that you have the power to succeed. I'm never going to hide any information from you. I'm here to give you all my information because that's how you learn a skill is learn the knowledge, practice it, implement solutions, and never make a mistake again. What I tell new clients is I ask them this question. How long do you want to have a coach for? And sometimes they're caught off guard. They're like, well, I don't know, 2 months, 2 years? The real answer is as long as you need one, right? Most clients come to me with a goal, whether it's fat loss, muscle growth, etc. We want to reach that goal, but we also want to maintain not putting, the fat back on or keeping the muscle. So we want to reach that goal, improve upon it, make sure it doesn't come back, and do it with minimal supervision by me and my team. Usually after 12 months or so, people can figure out that, hey, I'm getting results with less and less input from Scott and his team. Generally, that means you got it and you can move on with your life. I am not in the business of having clients for 10 years. I'm in the business of solving this. I want to teach you how to fish, not just keep feeding you fish.